our right to vote. Pretty soon you're going to hear from Dee Carter, who's going to talk about why we're here and why we're here to commemorate the landmark decision of the Harper versus Virginia court case, and give us a little background about her life and how the struggle she went through is the privilege that we are enjoying today through November 7th, which is our right to vote. And as you know, our right to vote has been challenged. Our right for proper representation is being challenged. And we, as the Fairfax County NAACP, are committed to making sure that everyone, regardless of their gender, sexual orientation, color, socioeconomic status, it doesn't matter what zip code you come from, you should have the right to be able to represent your community and your right to vote and place your ballot. So right to today is our souls to the poll. We were given this authority through the Virginia General Assembly legislation a couple years ago. It gave the municipalities the opportunity to choose up to 2 Sundays during the election cycle. Fairfax County has chosen to do one, which is October 29th. And so we are very happy and appreciative of the Sunday, October 29th, but hopefully next year we can celebrate 2 souls to the poll as the law allows us to do so. And we are lucky that unlike some municipalities here in Virginia, we didn't lose our souls to the poll. So there are municipalities that had their souls to the polls removed this year, such as Loudoun, Buckingham County, and some others. So we recognize that, but we would like to see both Sundays being utilized for souls to the polls. And so I hope you listen to our stories. We're also going to have speakers at the Government Center as well, talking about women's rights and other personal narratives, I should say. So I hope you enjoy that. And I hope you tell your friends and your families and your neighbors how important it is to vote. Early voting ends November 4th. And then the election day is November 7th. We have same-day registration, but you're going to be voting as a provisional ballot. So if you know anybody who votes as a provisional ballot, please impress upon them how important it is for them to cure their ballots on November 8th. If they do not fix those problems, those ballots will not be counted. So election day is November 7th, curing the ballot is November 8th. 2 very important days. In addition to that, impress upon folks to really vote before November 4th. As you know, this is a very long ballot, and the elections office is already sending out notices that they anticipate long lines. They anticipate an issue in counting the ballots, so we're going to have to manage expectations on when results for some of these races, especially the highly contested races, how long the results are going to be. So that's another reason we're really emphasizing early voting. And then the final thing is, if you're online, by the time the polls closes on the 7th at 7 p.m., that you have the right to vote. They cannot turn you away. So really encourage folks, stay online. So I know I said we had one speaker, but we actually have 2 speakers. So before Dee speaks, I would like to invite Supervisor Stork to say a few words. Of course it would be Sharice. So with that opening, welcoming Supervisor Stork, if you'd like to say a few words.
Karen, I'm very happy to, and this is exactly what we should be doing on a Sunday, is going to the polls and making sure that our votes count. And the key way to do that is to vote between now and before November 7th, but definitely on November 7th. I'm one of those that votes on November 7th for lots of reasons, but I definitely encourage everybody else to vote before that. because as we know, there's definitely some challenges to those processes, and it's better to get those challenges out before November 7th than on November 7th. This is absolutely, in my mind, a nonpartisan issue. We want people to vote. It's all about voting, showing up, making a difference, expressing your views. Obviously, I hope that people express views similar to the way I view it, but that's not the point. The point is that they go and vote and make a difference, in our democracy, in our republic. And Karen, thank you and the NAACP for organizing this. This is truly about doing our democratic, responsible duty and making sure that nobody ever takes that away or shortens the ability for us to go out and vote. Virginia has not had a great history, has had a core history historically of encouraging, enabling, and supporting people to go out to vote. I think in the last few years we've changed that. I think we're one of the most welcoming and encouraging states for voting in the country. So let's make sure we make a difference by getting a much higher percentage of folks voting this year than we have historically, because this is our time to really turn that around. I mean, historically maybe 20% or so of the folks vote here. That would be wonderful if we could get that closer to 30% or even 40%. So again, I'm talking to the people that are here who already get it and know and are committed, but please share that with your friends and neighbors, and let's all make a difference this election season. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Stork. And so now we're going to hear a few words from Dee Carter, a member of our Political Action Committee.
Okay, Karen just introduced myself. We are here to talk about Mrs. Annie E. Harper. We are starting here at the marker, and we're going to march to 2511 Parker Lane, which is Mount Vernon Government Center, to vote. Let me give you a history of the marker, why it's here. At the age of 79, Mrs. Harper of 7735 Fortson Road, Gum Spring, rode to her Fairfax County polling place in Alexandria City with church friends to vote for a state delegate and senator in the 1963 election. In order to vote, she was asked to pay a $4.71 poll tax, which was 3 years worth of the annual $1.50 Virginia poll tax plus 5%. The tax was payable every year whether or not there was an election. It was a lot for a woman who lived on a retirement income. Besides, Mrs. Harper thought it was wrong to have to pay to vote. 5 states required you to pay poll taxes. They were Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi, Texas, and Virginia. The case was filed in the federal court in Alexandria by attorney Allison Brown of ACLU and the NAACP. The case was heard in October of '64 and was dismissed in November of '64. Their attorney appealed to the Supreme Court in January of '65, and the case was accepted in March. In December of '65, U.S. Solicitor General Thurgood Marshall filed a Friends of the Court brief asking to participate in the oral arguments. He stated outside the courtroom, "You cannot put a tax on the right to vote in any form or fashion. The poll tax is merely a tax on the right to vote." The case Harper versus Virginia Board of Elections was argued on January 24, 1966 before the Supreme Court for 2 days. In March 1966, Harper versus Virginia State Board of Elections, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled 6-3 in favor of Mrs. Harper to declare Virginia poll tax unconstitutional under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. The 24th Amendment to the United States Constitution prohibited poll tax in federal elections. The Supreme Court ruling in Mrs. Harper's case banned poll taxes in state elections. We salute Mrs. Harper for her great effort in making it possible for all African American citizens and all citizens in the state of Virginia and across the country to freely vote and to end this method of disenfranchisement at the polls. Mrs. Harper was a member and deaconess of Bethlehem Baptist Church prior to her passing in 1983. This year she was honored with a marker on July 22nd for her bravery and courage to challenge voting rights in Virginia. So let's march to the polls in her honor.
Here.
Okay, I'm gonna say, I think we should do a rally shot, right? All right,
Let's sing to the polls.
I say vote.
You're going to say democracy with all my questions, right? Democracy. All right. What do we want?
Democracy.
When do we want it?
Now.
All right.
Okay, that was it.
What do we want?
Democracy.
When do we want it?
Now.
And the dogs are chiming in.
Yay!